Good morning, everyone. And Ben Woodward, I'm glad to have you on our call today. And it's fun to keep in touch with each other. And one of the favorite ideas, it's a scary idea and a wonderful idea, is Jim Rohn said that you are the average of the five people that you associate with most. And that's everything: income, values, everything that's important, or maybe unimportant, or maybe even dangerous. Zig Ziglar says it this way, and why we're not trying to associate with anybody is if you want to get the flu, all you have to do is hang around people that have the flu. But we can hang around a lot with these phone calls and conferences, and if we do that a lot, or even associating with people perhaps that are even onto another sphere, that are gone, listening to Napoleon Hill or reading him across time and space, he can still be one of our major influencers. But I'm glad you're alive and well, and I'll turn the time to you, Ben.
Thank you so much, Dave. And I'm certainly thrilled to count you as one of my five influencers as I look at the people I get to associate with and get to be more like. It's one of the great blessings of being with Nikken, isn't it? To be with great people. So I want to talk this morning about a couple of observations that have come to my attention this past week as I have found my Nikken business activities evolving. And I hope you find them evolving a little too. It's, at first glance, as we began this journey of quarantining and self-isolating and what have you, so many of us, including myself, were championing, this is a chance for us to do business as usual. What have we always done? And it's what we can keep on doing. And to a degree that is correct, but also to a degree it is not quite correct. And I want to point out a subtle but important difference. Yes, we build a business by picking up the phone, making phone calls. Yes, we get to build a business online through Zoom, through phone calls, conference calls such as this, through webinars. Yes, we get to place orders remotely online and get them shipped to our door safe and sound. All of these are great benefits, and it's been wonderful, refreshing to be able to see that we were prepared for this long before this crisis came. I've seen so many professional colleagues of mine that are not in Nikken struggling to come to grips with how do I live and operate in a remote environment? How do I function in this capacity? And they're learning things and they're asking questions that around subjects that I've really taken for granted, things that have been so straightforward to me because we do them day in, day out in our Nikken activity. And for that, I've been truly grateful. I've even heard a couple of MLM professionals say, don't go all braggy on people, and show off the fact, because you'll wind them up, you'll annoy them. Stop telling them how you were made for this and how clearly they were not. We need to get a balance right, don't we? We don't want to offend people and boot them off our contact list because we become insensitive to their plight and their struggle. So yes, that aspect of what we've been talking about these past few weeks is true, remains true, and continues to be true. That there was a strong level, a foundation laid for us that helped the transition into this period to be smooth and to be comfortable for most. However, there is another element that we need to be sensitive to, and it's something that's coming to my attention more and more as time progresses, and it will start to reveal itself more and more, a little bit here in Nikken, but at a much grander level, I believe, outside of Nikken. But it's something that we as leaders in our business do need to be sensitive to. And that's this. There are different personality types, which we know. We've all gone through humans being more. We've got the supporter, the controller, the analyzer, and the promoter. We've got introverts and extroverts. Yeah. People that are introvert will thrive in this environment. They quite enjoy working in isolation and working by themselves. And those that are extrovert are starting to pull their hair out just a little bit. Yeah. There are some from a leadership perspective that pursue leadership, that love leadership, that want to lead, that want to be a game changer. And in a moment such as this, they might find that this is an opportunity for them to thrive, to show their true colors, and so on. But there will be others that don't like to pursue leadership. that are overwhelmed with the responsibility of leadership and would much rather be supported, nurtured, and guided through this process with a bit of help from a loving upline or team member. Excuse my voice going. I can't help but feel self-conscious if I want to cough, but rest assured, I'm just clearing my throat. So what we see here is there are different groups. I was talking to a friend earlier this week because, and I'll get to how I got in contact with her in just a second. But she said, as she's a leader in her workspace, but she said a lot of the people that she's working with, she said they need supervising. They need managing. She said they have become so ineffective working from home. They don't like that environment. And she said, and my workload suddenly has increased. I find I have to do more to lead them and to supervise them because some people just need managing. It's interesting that, isn't it? Some people just need managing. And she said, but my responsibility as a leader now has increased. I've got more tasks. I've got to diversify my leadership style in order to accommodate those that need supervising during this time. She raised a very, very important point. Not all of us have the same approach. We might have the same skill set, but emotionally and personality-wise, we are a combination of a big mix of different groups, aren't we? And we need to incorporate that understanding into our response to how we deal with our business moving forward. Yes, we've got the skill set to jump on Zoom, to jump on conference calls, to connect remotely, to pick up the phone and what have you. And these are great allies for us. But in order to keep a team, a club, as Dave and I have often referred to, that sense of belonging strong, we need to recognize that we're also made up of lots of different personalities and lots of different groups of people that have different strengths and weaknesses emotionally here that we need to consider and tap into. Which means I've got a couple of thoughts here for us to consider. First, we need to check on, that's the step one, check on how people are doing with keeping to their goals and key milestones in building their business. So that accountability is important. We need to keep that strong during this critical time. We also need to check in with people emotionally. How are they doing? How are they feeling? And have the formal conversations and the informal conversations. Both are required. I want to share an example, kind of leading into this, that I think is particularly helpful. A number of years ago, I was conducting a training in the Netherlands. And we talked about doing what we used to call a power hour or a Nick and Now session, which was where we'd get out our contact lists and for the next 30 minutes, contact as many people on our contact list as we could. I've done this on my Tuesday calls a few times, if you remember. We did this. And as we were talking about building the contact list, one of the participants very proudly pulled out this big, thick binder. Oh, it had hundreds of pages of names after names after names on this list. And he showed it off to me with great pride. And I said, oh, this is fantastic. He didn't know what was coming though. He didn't know that the next task was going to be pull your phone out and start contacting them. When people stood up and started going to different parts of the room to make contact or to leave the room and to find a quiet space for the next 30 minutes, he sat there floundering, not knowing what to do with himself. He didn't open his contact list. And I went over to him, I observed this, I came over and said, oh, what's going on? You got all these people here to reach out to. And then the confession came. I built this list about 5 years ago, and I haven't contacted anyone on this list for the last 5 years. That list was redundant. It was pointless. It was defunct. Why? Because he had failed to build the relationships with the people on his list. What a tragedy. A tragedy occurred. They had all those people there, but no relationship. He hadn't nurtured a single one. Why do I share this? But one of the things that I did yesterday to build my business, but also be a good citizen of my society, was I went through my list. I started going through people that I knew on LinkedIn, people that were on my phone list, people that were on my Facebook list that I knew, that I liked, but that I hadn't spoken to in a while. And I just reached out and started making contact. How you doing? And I started checking in with them. And immediately, even before that process was finished, I was getting feedback and messages of thanks, of gratitude, of love and compassion, and reciprocation coming back as a consequence of that little activity. It stimulated dozens of new conversations as a result of just simply using this time to express interest. What did I say? I began most of my calls or most of my contacts by saying, hey, I thought I'd take this extra time that this pandemic has gifted me with to reach out to good friends that I haven't spoken to in a while and say hi and see how you're doing. I just wanted to make sure you're doing well. I want to make sure that you're healthy and safe and find out how you're dealing with this. What's going on in your life right now? How are you coping? And it was just such a simple way to reach out. I wanted to use this extra time that this pandemic has gifted me with to reach out to good friends that I haven't spoken to in a while and say hi and see how you're doing. Such a simple introduction, and I've had nothing but positive response ever since. I would invite everyone to do the same. This is a chance to really strengthen the relationships with those on our contact list. There is a gap, I've talked about this before, a bridge, if you will, from adding someone on our list to reaching out and inviting them to hear a presentation. And that bridge is relationships. And now is the time where we have everyone on that list with an abundance of time and a willingness to respond and a desire to be connected and to have that human contact, not to check on them, but to check in with them, to make sure that they're doing okay emotionally, to check in with their feelings, to see how they're doing in this moment, and to connect with them on an emotional level. As we do this, we will have an abundance of response coming back. That's my invitation number one for this morning, to do that, to check in and to reach out with love and concern to all those people on our list, and maybe those that are not yet on our list that should be. Let's get that list thriving, and let's get it full, and let's engage with it and connect with it in a meaningful, sincere way. My second invitation is to recognize that there are people in our teams in NECANN right now that have the skill set, that know how to jump onto calls like this, that know how to be a part of a webinar or a conference call, but maybe they're the extrovert pulling their hair out because they can't connect with people face to face. Yeah, maybe they don't like this online stuff as much as other people do, and it's making them stress and panic just a little bit. They need the connectedness. They need the face to face interaction. There's plenty of those, certainly in NECANN. I have found, I said to Kim once, Kim has always said to me, Ben, remember, a wise man says all he ought, not all he can. You talk too much sometimes, right? I'm a chatterbox. It's part of my nature, right? But I go to NECANN meetings and I see everyone else being chatterboxes. The meeting's finished and we just can't help talking to each other and catching up, hugging each other and spending time together and hanging out. And it's absolutely wonderful. And I look around and I go, everyone's just like me. This is my home. This is my club. This is my team. And I point this out to Kim and say, look, this is just network marketers. It's what we're like. We love to have that social club, don't we? That sense of belonging. That's one of the things that attracts us. So in this moment, yes, we're equipped with skills, but emotionally, there's going to be some people that will be struggling as time goes on because they need that face-to-face interaction. They need that emotional stimulus from other people. They need to feel engaged more. They need to lead more. They need to contribute more. Or perhaps maybe they're feeling a bit too isolated, a bit too vulnerable, a bit too panicked, a bit too fearful in spite of the reassurance messages that are going on. So my invitation is this: be mindful of the differences in personality types of those in your group. Don't take it for granted. We need to adapt our leadership skills and be more varied and more flexible in the way that we approach our team members now more than ever before. It's not just business as usual. We have an existing skill set which has given us a foundation that gives us a smooth transition, but there is still a lot of adjustment that many people are making. And as time progresses and marches forward, a lot of that adjustment will be emotional and psychological. And we need to consider that, look at the different personality types, look at the emotional needs of the people in our teams, and get involved and check in with them as well. Check in with those on our contact list, but definitely check in as well as check on the people in our team. That's my invitation today. The more we engage, I'm finding myself on the phone more and more and more now, because I've got more opportunities for ABCs, which is great. People are reaching out doing that, more consulting, one-on-one coaching and training calls, which is great as well. But also more checking in, more catching up, more informal conversations, more social interactions. And that is proving to be very, very important. So let's make sure we reach out and do that too. Let our team members know we love them. Stay connected, stay involved. And I promise you, this will be a time as we do that where we can have physical distancing, but be very socially connected. We need that connection and that bond. And we can strengthen our team and feel an incredible sense of community as a consequence of this. And your leadership skills and style can really shine as you adapt and diversify and demonstrate flexibility in order to meet the growing diverse needs of your group. So thank you very much. Reach out to the people on your list, let them know you love them. Now's a great time to reach out and say, I'm going to use this time wisely, and catch up and say hello to long lost friends that I haven't chatted to for a while. And then reach out to the people in your team and check in. Don't just check on their activity, check in with them. How are you doing emotionally? And stay connected, keep the friendships going. And of course, check in with your upline too. Anytime you want to reach out to people like Dave and I, we're always willing, anxious to take the calls and support you, talk with you, and spend time together. We love you. Thank you very much. And I'll pass the time back to you, Dave.
Oh, thank you, Ben. Really good advice. You know, it just gets me thinking, you know, all of us want to be happy. We're all pursuing success. All of those are wonderful words. And you probably have noticed and thought about this. In any of those terms, it seems to involve other people. And that's an awesome thing. And people really don't know how much you care until they care how much you know. If you really love other people, they'll love you back. And big stuff. So, wow. If I was that guy and I had that big list of all of these people and I hadn't talked to them for 5 years, well, this is a good opportunity to get that list out and, like you say, reacquaint yourself and not have this agenda in your mind as I'm going to get somebody. Nobody wants to be got. Just really care. And with that in mind, that all of us really want to be healthy. Of course we do. And if you want to be in a business, and everything about business is people, you know, if we don't understand people, we don't understand business. But boy, what an exciting business to be in. Health is the biggie in the foreseeable future. So we've got what people want, and nobody has it yet. We got really cool stuff that everybody needs and nobody has. And you can be the first one to share that story. So get well at sharing it and share it often, and get plugged in with the team. Love you, Ben. Thanks, everybody.
You guys take care. Bye-bye.